Hi, everybody, and welcome to Philadelphia. Another chilly night. Temperatures in the mid-40s for the second of a three-game set between the Marlins and the Philadelphia Phillies. Of course, a passionate fan base is back out to the ballpark tonight for a Saturday evening tilt between these two National League East rivals. Everybody is bundled up, no question about that. Perhaps even coming from across the street where the Flyers just played a little while ago. Hi again, everybody, and welcome inside the broadcast booth. Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. Well, Brian Anderson, unlike the temperatures here, is off to a hot start on this young season.
Well, 7-game hitting streak to start the season and a great offensive approach. We've seen him go the other way. We've seen him come through in big game situations. He is not playing like a rookie. He is playing like somebody who has done this before. Great numbers across the board. I love the one right smack dab in the middle. Those 6 walks, that .457 on base percentage. Listen, there's been some few guys in this lineup that have struggled. You can easily say get Brian Anderson out of the way. He's been patient. He has not changed his game plan. He has gone out there and executed Brian Anderson's approach to hitting.
Yeah, no question about it. This offense, again, they want it to come to life, no doubt about it, but they've been in games because of their pitching, and Dylan Peters with 6 scoreless against the Cubs in his season debut.
Yeah, fantastic job working in and out of some trouble. You look at the final line, it was outstanding. He had that big breaking ball working. It's going to be a big pitch for him today. He threw it 38 times in that first start. Again, it's almost as much as his fastball, so you see that balance there. You see the good numbers, the 2 strikeouts. There was some great defense behind him, but the key today, the grounder, getting the ball on the ground to the middle infielders and getting those outs.
That might be how he wants to get his outs, but throughout his career, the guy that he's up against this afternoon is Vincent Velasquez, and the way he's going to get some of his outs is by way of the strikeout.
Well, Velasquez has got a big arm and a big fastball. Got knocked around his first time against the Atlanta Braves. He's got a good history against this Marlins club, but we'll see if the temperatures have anything to do with his command inside the strike zone. He can be wild at times.
Second game of a 3-game set between the Marlins and the Phillies. We'll bundle up. You stay nice and warm in South Florida. Back for lineups at first pitch right after this. for my money, one of the best around. Not necessarily always the nicest to the visitors, but certainly entertaining, no question about it. Again, a chilly night here in Philadelphia. Everybody's bundled up down there in the Marlins dugout, getting set. Second of a 3-game set. Tomorrow, a 1:35 first pitch here in Philadelphia. And then back home to Miami. So stepping off the plane, I know Don Mattingly and the rest of us, when we get off that plane, we will enjoy the warm weather. You see the record there against the Philadelphia Phillies, but overall, the Marlins have lost 5 straight against the Phils. So they would like to get off that schneid and start getting back to their winning ways against the Philadelphia Phillies. The wind, thankfully, has died down a bit from what it was on Thursday. Just 5 miles an hour. It was upwards of 20 on Thursday. Unpleasant, to say the least.
Now, the temperatures, at least during batting practice, as you see, about 46, 47 degrees. Not bad. It's, again, cold, but that wind not blowing nearly as hard today. This Marlins offense can get on a roll.
Yeah, that's what can really be brisk, is that wind. The temperatures are what they are, but it feels so much worse, and that's why they call it a wind chill, I suppose. Tonight's lineups are presented to you by Southwest. The big change, the big flip-flop, is right there at the top, as Derek Dietrich has been bumped up to the number 1 spot to lead things off tonight against Vincent Velasquez. Lewis Brinson moves down a spot. Brinson again struck out 4 times in his game on Thursday afternoon here against the Philadelphia Phillies. But again, it's all about the adjustments and something that he will continue to do throughout his rookie season. Up against Vincent Velasquez, who again is a guy who is going to register quite a few strikeouts, certainly throughout the season. Marlins would like to make some solid contact against him today, but averaging 9.8 strikeouts per 9 since the start of the 2016 season, more than any other Philly starter in that span.
And you certainly recognize the ability to punch hitters out, but at the same time, you also say to yourself, listen, he's got a 4.55 career ERA. You got an opportunity to do some damage. He clearly makes mistakes throughout the ball game, and you see his last start against the Braves on March 31st. He got knocked around, not even able to get through 3. Let's give you the scouting report, the Auto Nation scouting report. Well, leaning on history, he's made 6 career starts against the Marlins, a 2.84 ERA. So Velasquez, comfortable going up against the Marlins. Now that bumpy first start, I just mentioned it, he got knocked around. The Phillies defense was not good, but he threw a lot of fastballs, which I'm sure you're going to see tonight. He actually threw too many strikes in that first start against the Atlanta Braves, surrendered 9 hits in 2 2/3. Last one is bringing the heat. You mentioned it, 94.8 miles an hour on that big fastball that he has.
His first one was 92. His second one is 93, and it's a ball and a strike to Derek Dietrich, who was 1 for 4 on Thursday. Has 1 home run on the season, 1 of the 2 for the Marlins through the first week or so of the 2018 season. Took a little bit off of that one, gets the top part of the strike zone, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, Dietrich, the one with the most experience against Velasquez, 11 career at-bats. He's got a couple of hits.
They play him straight up. That one in the dirt, 2 balls and 2 strikes. A hit in 12 of the last 15 games against the Philadelphia Phillies. But as you can see, not great success against Vincent Velasquez.
You see back-to-back breaking balls from Velasquez just to finish off his arsenal. He will throw an occasional changeup, as I mentioned, that high-velocity fastball right around 94 to 96 miles an hour. Typically does have a slider, does have a curveball. Those are his primary, secondary pitches. The changeup, very infrequent.
A full count pitch to Derek Dietrich is lined into right field for a leadoff base hit to begin the night.
Let's take a look at the Philadelphia Phillies defensively for tonight's ball game. Hoskins, as always, in left field. Herrera gets the start in center. Altair is in right. Franco Kingery gets the start at shortstop. Hernandez, Santana, Alfaro behind the dish for Velasquez.
Those defenses brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. In the first week, or wrapping up the first week as manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. There is Gabe Kapler, as we documented, was greeted rather rudely on opening day, but that had all to do with that first week. Again, we'll get into that as the game unfolds. But picking up his first home win on Thursday afternoon. Lewis Brinson now with a runner on base. Nobody out here in the first. Brinson 0 for 4 on Thursday, slotting down one spot in the lineup for Don Mattingly. Got down there by Alfaro.
2 pitches in. Brinson, you see the breaking ball out of Velasquez's hand. Philadelphia Phillies attacked him with a plethora of breaking balls in Thursday's ball game. Did the Boston Red Sox. Expect to see some more of that tonight. Talking about the rookie adjustments, the in-game adjustments. Brinson is going to have to, particularly against the right-handers, figure out a way to defend that breaking pitch. And it's not always like you got to be a great breaking ball hitter. You know, as I kind of said in the pregame, when there's a weakness, every hitter's got weaknesses, and the pitchers are doing their best to exploit those weaknesses. You got to be able to defend them, and the idea is that if he throws a tough breaking ball, can I foul that pitch off? If he throws a breaking ball in the dirt, do I leave it alone? It's not becoming a great breaking ball hitter per se. It's just becoming better at defending the breaking ball and earning that fastball more often. Longer you're in the big leagues, more pages go into that book, and that's the book on you. What you can do, what you can hit, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses.
A ball and 2 strikes to Brinson. Doesn't chase that one in the dirt. The count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Starlin Castro on deck. Out of the number 3 hole. Again, Brinson hitting number 2 in a general sense. The pitch arsenal that a number 2 hitter might see compared to a number 1 hitter. Is it the fastballs, and that's why the one shift down?
Yeah, it depends on who you are, and it depends on how much big league experience you've got. No, I mean, listen, you know, traditionally, starter steps out first at bat, and anybody will tell you your leadoff hitter really kind of once in a ball game, which is to start the game. You know, typically you'll see a guy try to establish his fastball, work his way to his breaking balls. No, we've seen this year, maybe it's a change. We've seen a lot more breaking balls in the first inning than I think I've ever seen in my life. Mostly, you know, most pitchers typically try to come out and establish the command, the strike zone, what they're dealing with that day, get their 2-seamer working, their 4-seamer working, if the sinker's part of their arsenal, and then that second time through the lineup, you see the breaking balls. But what, we're at game number 8?
Yeah.
Just about every starter we've seen has opened up that arsenal early. And maybe that's a change in the game. That, you know, we talk about that third time through the lineup not happening for many guys.
Dietrich goes on 3-2. This one chopped to short. Kingery over to first. Brinson retired for out number 1.
Dietrich into scoring position for the Marlins. They have trailed an awful lot here in the early going about this season. First 7 ball games. Had to play from behind quite a bit. See if they can't get on the board first today.
That will bring up Starlin Castro, who was 1 for 4 in Thursday afternoon's ball game. But to get back to that pitch arsenal thing, I think you're right. I've heard other pitchers talk about that. John Smoltz, worked with him for a number of years at the Major League Baseball Network. One of the best big game pitchers there is. Hall of Famer. Fair to say he knows a thing or two about pitching as this one trickles away from Alfaro. Yeah. And the throw is airmailed into left field. Dietrich will come all the way around to score. The Marlins have a 1-0 lead.
Now that's the lead the Marlins were looking for, and great base running by Derek Dietrich. Are you kidding me? Did not get that far away from Alfaro of the Phillies. Throttled down, and a great read. We talk about the base running. Kind of smothers it. This is a tough read for a runner at second base. You have no idea how far that ball gets away. But if you're ready to run, you can run. And he did run. As you see Dietrich sliding to third. Bad throw gets him across home.
That's one way to stay warm. Run around, get the blood flowing. Nice little trip around the bases for Derek Dietrich.
We talk about it in the key ingredients to what this Marlins team needs to do to win. And as we've seen early on, they're only averaging 3.2 runs per ball game. They're taking their walks, which is good. Again, 29, that's fourth in Major League Baseball. The batting average, 223, that's 23rd. But power department, only 2 home runs. So what's this team going to have to do better to score runs, get that 3.2 up, which is run the bases well.
And for those that are alarmed, and I'm sure there's some, alarmed at the lack of home runs, think about this. No one considers Marlins Park a bandbox. And it was 40 some odd degrees on Thursday. Now, to your point, and you've mentioned it quite a bit, I mean, there certainly are some bats that are not in this lineup this year that were last year. There's no question about it. But also take into account what the conditions have been, and perhaps more power may show up as the season unfolds. Situation where Don Mattingly and his bunch have, as Todd mentioned, not been in these first few games of this season, and that's working from ahead. Seems like the few times that they have had a lead, that lead has evaporated rather quickly. In the dirt again, and it's 3-2. Making Velasquez work here in this first inning, that's for sure.
Well, he's really committed to throwing his breaking balls in the strikeout situations. 2 strikes, and he hasn't been able to get the swing and misses. The Marlins have done a good job of laying off.
Line foul.
I really do believe, Paul, you had referenced John Smoltz and pitch sequencing and how guys go about their business. I think the game is changing again. We're watching starters go shorter, so they're bringing their arsenal to the table sooner in ball games. It's not the idea. I'm excluding all the Cy Young candidates in the aces, the number ones from this conversation.
Out toward right center field. Herrera a long run. He'll have to play this one off the wall. It'll be extra bases for Starlin Castro. He's in there with a stand-up double. Velasquez had gone full to all 3 of the Marlins batters. Castro makes him pay.
Yeah, he misses across the plate. Look at how far where he sets up and where that pitch ends up. Ends up high and away. Starlin Castro, I've said it many times, I'm going to say it a lot more, line to line. Boy, power to both the left field and right field line and everything in between. He's got a great approach right now. 8-game hitting streak to start the season.
He just continues to hit. The Philadelphia Phillies came in with a .350 career average against the Phils. Now it's Justin Bour who takes a called strike. Bour was 1 for 4 on Thursday, hitting a shade under 300 in his last 11 games against the Phillies.
Justin Bour really concentrating on the middle of the field in batting practice today, particularly left center field. The shift the Phillies employ. Franco, lone soldier on the left side of the diamond.
That equates to a big hole between Kingery, who's a few paces off the second base bag, and Franco, who's about 90 feet away. Struck him out on 95, the first strikeout of the night for Vince Velasquez, and there's 2 outs here in the first. Now it's Brian Anderson, who has certainly had a nice run so far to begin the season. He's hit in 7 straight games. That's a career long. He was 1 for 3 on Thursday. Had a double and his first major league home run on Monday against the Boston Red Sox. First pitch he sees is in the dirt.
He too has really been tested with the breaking ball. He has shown a lot of patience. Strong numbers with runners in scoring position this season. 3 for 7, 5 RBIs. That double came with the bases loaded. He's really been tested with the breaking ball. They're convinced, many of the pitchers have been convinced that he has seen that he's going to chase. He is not. In fact, more walks than strikeouts to start the season.
Well, we saw with Caleb Smith the other day. Nick Pivetta somehow, some way had no issues commanding the ball the other day. But again, the cold temperatures this time of year, it's so hard for pitchers to get a feel for the baseball. Pitchers and infielders for that matter, because we saw a lot of balls wayward going toward first base on throws from infielders in the dirt, high, here, there, wherever it was. And we've seen Velasquez already throw 25 pitches, and Alfaro has worked hard behind the plate. A 2-0 to Anderson is flown out toward right field. This is Aaron Altair for out number 3. But aggressive base running from Derek Dietrich. Scores on an E2. It's 1-0. Southwest transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. WB Mason, who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota, let's go places. An earned run in the first, and it's a 1-0 lead for the Marlins. Here is a look now at tonight's lineup, presented to you by Southwest. Cesar Hernandez leads things off, and Maikel Franco in the lineup today at number 6, and he did some damage on Philadelphia's home opener on Thursday, a double shy of the cycle. So now Dylan Peters will work against this Phillies lineup. His first pitch is low and in to Cesar Hernandez. First start of the season came on April 1st against the Cubs. He was stellar. 6 scoreless innings against a tough Cubs lineup. 6 hits and he walked 1. He'll look for similar success this evening here against the Philadelphia Phillies. His 3rd career start against this team, in fact.
Yeah, he has fared very well against the Philadelphia Phillies in his young, early career here. Back to that last start, 89 pitches, 56 strikes, 8 ground ball outs. That's the one thing I was so impressed with that first start against the Chicago Cubs. Just absolutely outstanding at getting the ball on the ground when he needed to. Sharp breaking ball. That September 1st start in 2017, his big league debut against the Phillies. 7 innings, 3 hits, 8 Ks. Great stuff. He faced him 11 days later and did it again. He wasn't as good as September 1st, but good. 6 solid innings, a couple earned runs.
He's upstairs to Cesar Hernandez. We'll look back at last September. This was the last time that he faced the Philadelphia Phillies, so a bit familiar with these guys for sure as he draws, or rather issues the free pass to Hernandez to lead things off.
Here's your Miami Marlins defense. Starting defenses are brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. Dietrich, Brinson, Maben is your outfield. Anderson, Rojas, Castro, Bohr. Wallach gets the start behind the plate for Dylan Peters.
Hernandez away from first, and the first pitch to Carlos Santana is upstairs. 0 for 4 in game 1, currently riding an 0 for 6 for the new Philadelphia Philly.
3 hits on the season so far, all have been impactful. 2 doubles and a home run for Santana. Peters going to have to keep his eyes on Carlos Hernandez. Santana's in the box. Hernandez is at first base. Hernandez was running wild in game 1 of this series on Thursday. 3 stolen base attempts, successful twice.
He stays put on that strike on the outside corner, and it's 1-1. Chase the breaking ball. You mentioned all of the offensive production that they are hoping for Carlos Santana. That, of course, on the heels of signing a 3-year, $60 million contract this offseason. Those years with the Indians, and now here in Philadelphia. That one low and in, and it's 3-2. We've seen a handful of those through the first half inning plus here today. Santana with career hit number 999 out there toward right field, and the Phillies have a couple of runners aboard to lead off the first.
Fastball from Peters on the outer half. Santana right-handed going to right field. The hole shoots it the other way. Phillies in business. First 2 men on.
Now it's Scott Kingery. 0 for 4 in the opener, 0 for his last 10 entering play here. Peters could certainly use one of those ground balls that he got plenty of against the Chicago Cubs. Kingery gets the start tonight at shortstop. He's already played all over the diamond in rather short time for Gabe Kapler. Third base, shortstop, left field, right field.
Kingery playing in more of a utility role, finding himself in that 3 spot in the lineup. 4 hits to start the season. 4 for 8, does have a stolen base. 4 for 18. Changeup. Peters, don't see that too often out of his hand. Anything really likes to go to the breaking ball, but both lineups really have been patient going up against the opposition starter in the breaking ball. Velasquez has the breaking ball, Peters has the breaking ball. Both showed it in the first inning, but not too many hitters have chased.
We've already seen it through the first 5 on the Marlins side and the first now 3 for the Philadelphia Phillies. They are going to make the opposing pitcher work. 2-2 to Kingery. Fights that one off.
Both offenses have done well in the early going. Take the walks, work the counts. Phillies the best. They're seeing the most pitches in baseball right now. Marlins right behind them. Hasn't translated into great team batting averages or home run totals or even runs scored. In fact, both these offenses hovering around just 3 runs per ball game or just over. They do believe it's a philosophy that's going to pay dividends in the long term for both offenses.
The 2-2 to Kingery. Toward right field and a base hit. They will hold up Hernandez at third. A walk and 2 hits have the bases loaded for the Phillies here in the first.
Well, if there's any doubt what the Phillies' approach against Dylan Peters is going to be tonight, watch the last 2 hitters. Santana, Kingery going to right field, staying inside the baseball. Santana on the fastball, Kingery on the breaking pitch. Didn't get out in front. You want to elevate, keep the ball off the ground, stay inside the baseball, young men. You've seen this Phillies team do. They've got the bases loaded, and I'm going to say it now. I don't think anybody's going to argue. Their best hitter, Rhys Hoskins, stepping in.
The Marlins would not argue that. Terrific numbers in his career against the Marlins. He takes that one low. Entering play tonight, hitting .405. He's 15 for 37 with 8 home runs and 19 RBIs in just 11 games against the Marlins. They kept him hitless on Thursday, went 0 for 3 in the home opener. But a chance to do major damage here. Bases loaded, nobody out. And that one just off the outside edge. 2 balls and no strikes.
Peters has had his number, small sample size, 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts coming into tonight. You see those career numbers against the Marlins. Hoskins a .500 on-base percentage to start the season. He's taking his walks.
Marlins will play the infield back, but also shifted around 3 men on the left side of the diamond rather against Hoskins, and it's 3 balls and no strikes, nowhere to put him. Six pitches in the first inning for Vincent Velasquez. The next one will be 22 for Peters, and still no outs. And he's walked in the tying run.
With his history, I know the situation is early to even think this, but Peters clearly was not going to give in to Hoskins, even with the bases loaded and nobody out in the first inning. Pitched him very, very carefully.
Pitching coach Juan Nieves comes out just to give him a little bit of a breather here. A walk to Cesar Hernandez, a base hit from Carlos Santana. A base hit from Scott Kingery, and the bases loaded walk to Rhys Hoskins. And the Marlins' 1-0 lead has already evaporated. A chance for more here for the Philadelphia Phillies as Odubel Herrera will step to the plate, and already movement in the Marlins bullpen as Jake Turner is up.
Odubel Herrera, big day, nice day on Thursday. 2 for 3, a couple of base hits, drove in a run in the third, also had a walk. Career .326 hitter against the Marlins.
Even with the bag, but off the line is Brian Anderson. Double play depth is short for Rojas. It will be an 0-1 to Odubel Herrera. 0-2. Again, just 2 strikeouts in his first start of the 2018 season for Dylan Peters, and boy, could he use one right here. Fifth pitch of the inning. It's inside to Herrera, 1-2.
Peters would love to disrupt the timing of Herrera.
Big strikeout for out number 1.
Right back into rhythm. He went after Herrera well. Featured a very good changeup, a couple of off-speed pitches against Herrera. You see him out over his front foot. Able to come up with contact. Brings up Maikel Franco.
Yeah, it doesn't get much easier. 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs, a double shy of the cycle on Thursday. Ball and no strikes to a guy that's homered in 4 consecutive home games dating back to last year.
Stay out of his hot zone. Upper third of the strike zone, fastballs, middle away. Thursday, man, oh man, he was on it. Everything he hit was hard, even in the frigid temperatures.
Well, that's kind of been the story. That's what the Phillies are trying to figure out with Maikel Franco, is how can they, you know, let's get back to the big conversation everybody's having nowadays about launch angle. He's hitting the ball hard. It's just everything seems to be going right to the ground. Thursday notwithstanding, that was tap foul.
Franco has shown the willingness to chase at times. This might be a great place for the big breaking ball from Peters.
'30th pitch of the first is popped up behind home plate. Wallach into the screen. One less row behind home plate. He probably makes that catch.
You know, I was just thinking if the net wasn't there, he makes this catch. You see, he's right where he needs to be. Does a nice job staying behind the baseball, waiting for it to come down, and this is going to catch the net just above him. I know you can't really see it right there. It was 2 feet up. It hit the net and just kind of bounced away. Maybe if you could stretch the net out and catch it. Could you do that?
You might.
It would have worked in that situation.
Have to double check the ground rule.
I'm not sure. Can you push the net and catch? Maybe. I bet you could.
You could brace yourself against the wall. Why not?
Right.
Similar thing. It's a barrier.
That thing, that baseball barely hit above his glove.
1-2 pitch. He's outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Both starters laboring in the first inning.
Santana on third, Kingery at second, and Hoskins at first. You saw those the ball strike numbers for Dylan Peters. It was something where you don't want to make excuses for these guys. You know, they're professionals. They certainly wouldn't want the excuse. But it's cold, and it was an excuse that we couldn't really make on Thursday because of just how good Nick Pivetta was. But Caleb Smith after the game, Don Mattingly say, you know, just didn't have a grip on the baseball. We've seen both of these pitchers today, and that's why I say maybe tonight we can make the excuse. Hot shot down the third baseline is foul. See guys blowing on their hands, trying to get some kind of moisture on the ball so that they can get some kind of a grip. So difficult this time of year. The 8th pitch of the at-bat. is driven out toward left center field, and that one is gone. It's a grand slam for Maikel Franco. His second of the series and second of the season. It's 5-1 Phillies.
Franco dominated the top half of the strike zone in Game 1 on Thursday. 3 hits, including a 2-run home run. He worked his way back to the top spot in the strike zone and did not miss it again. What a start to his season here in Philadelphia. 4 RBIs on Thursday, 4 RBIs on Saturday.
That will bring up Aaron Altair. Hitless in his last 16 at-bats.
Well, the hot zone for Maikel Franco right there. Middle, and up. It's what he's been handling. You talked about getting the ball in the air more. You naturally will hit the ball in the air when you're able to pick on pitches at the top of the strike zone. It's now his 4th hit in that upper quadrant in this series, which is now 10 innings old.
The home run that he hit the other night, or the other afternoon on Thursday, was 109 miles per hour off the bat. That one was 101.
Well, and to his credit, he got himself to that position. As this at-bat was going on, 8th pitch of the at-bat. Fought off the breaking ball, fought off the changeup. A fly ball into center field. He comes in and makes the catch for out number 2. Again, talking about the young guys really learning how to defend the strike zone. That's a pretty good example of what defending the strike zone is all about. Maikel Franco is not necessarily a great breaking ball hitter, probably not a great changeup hitter. He likes fastballs. What do we know? He likes fastballs up right now over the plate. And what we've seen in this series, he's battled to the mistake, and he did it right there for the grand slam.
Yeah, you can see Wallach setting up on the inside corner. Ball leaked back out over the middle or outer third, and then into the seats for the grand slam. Breaking ball is in there to Jorge Alfaro, and it's 0-1. Alfaro was 0 for 2 on Thursday. 0 for his last 7. We keep saying this guy is 0 for this, 0 for that for the Phillies. They came into this ballgame with a 186 average, 29th in Major League Baseball. For a team that had scored just 19 runs, 13th worst in the National League. They've got 5 in the first inning tonight. A bases loaded walk to Rhys Hoskins, and then the grand slam off the bat of Maikel Franco. 1-2 to the Phillies catcher. And at 41 pitches in this first inning, certainly not sure how much longer Don Mattingly will let Dylan Peters go, but the point of it is that if he does let him go a little bit, that would really be beneficial to a bullpen that has worked an awful lot in this first week of the season. A swing and a miss of Alfaro, second of the inning, but a grand slam off the bat of Maikel Franco has the Phillies up 5-1. Worth a 5-1 lead for the Philadelphia Phillies through the first inning here in Philly. A grand slam off the bat of Maikel Franco, who's had a big first 10 innings of this series. Double shy of the cycle on Thursday. The grand slam in the first here tonight. That will bring up Cameron Maybin to lead things off for the Marlins. 6, 7, and 8 due up. After Maybin, it's Miguel Rojas and Chad Wallach, as the Marlins have some work to do in this one against Vince Velasquez.
Maybin, good start to the season. 8 for 25, 3 doubles. For 3 on Thursday, did line out to center field. 33 stolen bases last season.
And he's made some solid contact too, Cameron Maybin. The doubles that he's hit, even some of his outs have been kind of sharp. The 1-1. A hard hit ball through the left side. A base hit for Cameron Maybin to lead off the second inning. Continues to hit here at Citizens Bank Park. Came in hitting .287 in this yard. Again, 46 degrees. The wind not nearly as bad as it was on Thursday. Just 5 miles an hour. You can read every letter and every number on those flags on Thursday, but now fairly dormant out there in left center field. But don't get us wrong, it's still chilly. Here's Miguel Rojas. Oh for 3 on Thursday. .222 average on the young season.
Cameron Maybin, a stolen base on the season. The Marlins are down 5-1 here in the second inning. That has been a bit of a challenge, kind of getting at the running game. We talked about on Thursday that the Philadelphia Phillies, how bad their team batting average was. Everybody outside of Hoskins was struggling. They started putting guys in motion. Well, I think the same situation for the Marlins right now. We've talked over the first 7 ball games how much they've trailed. They just really haven't been in ideal spots to run a whole lot. When you're down 4 already in the second inning and you've got a guy on first base, you'd love to be able to put, Maybin on the run. Say if you can get a good jump, go. But a lot of times you'll get a little bit more hesitant because you've got potential runs on the bases and you don't want to make outs on the bases even early in the ballgame. I think for the Marlins this year, the wise thing probably to do will be to stay aggressive.
12-foot lead off of first for Maybin, who stays put on the 2-0. That one in there for a called strike. In a general sense, Maybin will run. If you recall, second in the American League in stolen bases last year with 33. And it's that sort of dynamic weapon that he possesses and brings to the table for the Marlins that they'd like to use a little bit more. However, the situation kind of has to present itself.
Well, this would be a good spot to run. Miguel Rojas, very good with the bat, good at protecting the runner. We'll see him go on this 3-1 pitch. Not running.
Fourth time in 7 hitters that the Marlins have gone to a full count. Another check on Maybin, who's back. Chad Wallach awaits on deck. Maben on the move. Rojas down the right field line, but this one slices into the seats. Well, if you go on one, you go on all of them?
Yes. I think in this situation, trust Rojas. About the only thing, you trust Rojas to be able to defend the fastball, really is what I should say. If there's a breaking ball, again, I think that favors Maben. If in fact he were to chase or go outside the strike zone, still advantage base runner.
Maben goes again, and a base hit right through that open right side. Maben will go to third. Perfect situational hitting for Miguel Rojas.
Rojas is going to pick on another fastball. Maben, easy read as that ball is behind him and on the ground. Just a second, he's on his way to third. This Marlins offense is up and running now. 4 hits. The first 7 hitters in the Marlins lineup.
Executed to perfection right where Cesar Hernandez had just vacated. So now runners on the corners and no out for Chad Wallach. A called strike. Wallach gets his first start of the series, as it was Brian Holliday pitching on Thursday afternoon.
It's a big at bat for the Marlins. Dylan Peters in the on-deck circle. Chad Wallach would love to have a payoff here. It's a big spot. The Marlins would love to crawl back into this ball game.
Well, they've got 8 more at-bats to do it. An ideal situation with 2 on and nobody out. And that's kind of the mindset, right? You're not going to get, I mean, you could, Mike Franco can attest, you can get 4 runs on a swing, but you start thinking 1 run at a time, start chipping away.
And that's the idea for this Marlins team. And we talked about the power. Only a couple of home runs on the season. Mike Franco's got 2 home runs in this series already.
Swing and a miss. Wallach is retired for the first out in the second. Second strikeout for Velasquez.
The Marlins invite you and your family for Autism Awareness Day, powered by South Florida Ford, on Sunday, April 15th. Get access to sensory-friendly quiet rooms and seating, in addition to participating in a pre-game ceremony. A portion of the proceeds from each ticket benefit nonprofits in the autism community. For more information, visit marlins.com/themes.
Middle infield plays back. Franco creeping in at third as Peters shows bunt, pulls it back, and bunts again before ultimately taking ball 1. Still in search of his first career hit. If he gets one here, he'll get the Marlins back to within 3. Looks like the play is to lay the bunt down. He does, and Alfaro picked that one up on the line, but the home plate umpire is going to call this one a foul ball. Alfaro picked it up, threw down to second base in an effort to get Rojas, but the home plate umpire, Scott Berry, said it was foul.
Hard to tell, but from our vantage point, he might have been on the foul side of the line. Oof, too close. Dylan Peters has got to be busting it down the line right there, just in case.
Cameron Maben away from third. Miguel Rojas off of first. Peters squares again. Fouls it off again. 1-2.
That's an interesting scenario. On the 1-1 pitch, Peters was bunting, Rojas was running. Peters would have popped that up. The Marlins inning would have ended. So Dylan Peters can find contact with 2 strikes.
Swinging away, or not swinging at all as it takes upstairs. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Good take. Vasquez to the top of the strike zone. See if Peters will chase.
Benefit of the National League is the pitcher. You give up 5 runs in the bottom of the first, and now immediately a chance to help yourself. Peters squares on 2-2. Pulls it back, and the count runs full. With Derek Dietrich waiting. Well, there are no moral victories, but Peters at least has made Velasquez work in this at-bat. Squares again on 3-2 and bunts it foul for the second out of the inning. We'll bring up Derek Dietrich, who singled and came around to score. He was on second base, tried to steal third. In fact, advanced to third on a wild pitch, rather, and then Jorge Alfaro's throw down to third to try to get Dietrich ended up in left field. Dietrich scored. Marlins had a 1-0 lead. Now, however, they find themselves down 5-1 with a chance to get at least one back here in the second. And a strike to Dietrich.
Dietrich on the fastball from Velasquez. His first at bat. Line drive base hit to right. Velasquez starts him with the breaking ball here in at bat number 2.
Just off the inside edge, 1-1. Again, Dietrich moved up into the leadoff spot for this game. It had been Lewis Brinson for the first 7. But today it's Dietrich. He takes low, 2 balls and a strike. Cut and miss at 93, and it's 2-2.
Vasquez now at 50 pitches. This would be 51 coming up. See the splits there. That start in Atlanta. As I mentioned, the Phillies defense was not great behind him, but his pitch count went way up very quickly in that one, as he only went 2 2/3.
Dietrich the other way down the left field line, and just foul into the corner. Well, that's just another couple of feet to the right. 2-run score.
Good approach from Derek with 2 strikes, shortening up.
Maben off third, Rojas off of first. A 2-2 on the way from Velasquez. Just missed Dietrich. Usually it gets him.
I was anticipating just inside. I'm thinking, yeah, that was a lot closer to Derek than it was to the inside corner. 2 pitch. Rojas will be off with the pitch. Finds a gap. Should be 2.
Runner does go. Dietrich pops this one up. Shallow right field. Hernandez drifting back to make the catch. Marlins had a chance. First and third. Nobody out. They get nothing against Velasquez. Hit it here, 17 or 27. Yeah, it was number 17, Shohei Ohtani. Remember it way back when this guy had a lousy spring? Not so much anymore. Are you kidding me is right. Mark Kubica. He's been unbelievable. 3 home runs.
He's really commanding the outside lane. These are pitches in on his hands. He was locked in the outside part of the plate. 3 home runs, 3 games in a row. His opening day, well, I should say opening, his first home game. The Big A, 3 hits, including that home run.
And he's pitching pretty well too. Those of you that are into StatCast, he's up there. He's up there on the leaderboards in exit velocity. And,
oh yeah, he pitches. I forgot.
And pitches thrown. Velocity of the pitches. 1-2 to Vincent Velasquez. 9-1 and 2 due up for the Phillies. Up 5-1 here in the bottom of the second inning. Cesar Hernandez and Carlos Santana to follow. Bill and Peters hoping for a bounce back second inning. It went walk, hit, walk, strikeout, grand slam. That's how the Phillies got 5 runs in the bottom of the first inning. The other way, and just out of the reach of Starlin Castro. Velasquez is aboard. Don't forget you can stream all the Marlins games on Fox Sports Go, presented by T-Mobile. Cesar Hernandez will step to the plate again. Walked and scored back in the first.
He's done his job this series. 4 walks, 2.5. Able to get on base from the top spot in this Phillies lineup.
There's a called strike. Yeah, he actually matched career highs in Thursday. 3 walks and 2 stolen bases. He was actually the first Philly with 3 walks and 2 stolen bases in the same game since 2005. Mr. Bobby Abreu. accomplish that feat. Chopper up the middle. Castro takes it himself. And Bull were able to dig that one out. A double play.
That's the breaking ball. We're hoping to see from Peters. Top to bottom in the strike zone. Ground contact. Double play. 12-6 action down into the bottom of the strike zone. Cesar Hernandez beats it into the ground. Starlin Castro says thank you very much, as do the Marlins.
7th double play turn by this defense. And now Carlos Santana.
The defense has been good for the Marlins. So it's really stood out. The pitching's been pretty solid. Bullpen for sure has been good. Defense has been very good behind him. Got to get the hitting going.
Now I know that it's a strong term, demoralizing, because it's the second inning of the game. But first and third, nobody out last inning.
Well, you're playing into patterns, and Paul, it is the right word. It can be demoralizing. When you fall into the pattern, I mean, listen, you're competing. We talked about it all of the first homestand all along, how well they did it competing. Came out of it 2-4. They were in just about every game. You got on the road, and you know, what did I say before the Dietrich run? The Marlins need to score an early run so they can play with the lead. You take a deep breath. Dietrich makes his way around the bases. You take a 1-0 lead in the first inning, and then you give up a grand slam in the bottom of the first. That's demoralizing. It absolutely is. You feel like you're playing catch up and chase, and they feel like they've been doing that a lot this season.
A big hole to climb out of right now as they're down 5-1 in the bottom of the second inning.
You got to keep grinding. You got to keep it close. That's Peter's job here for the rest of the afternoon.
Anderson on the low hop across to Bohr. Thanks to a double play, Peters faces 3 in the inning through 2, 5-1. Number 9, Juan Pierre's old number. Let's check in with JP.
I told him, I said, man, you're a big guy, man. You need 2 numbers on the back. The number 9 is for smaller guys, so your back is too big, so you might have to change after this year. But to wear the number 9, it's pretty cool. And to say that he wanted to wear it, I can't believe it. You know, when they said it, I'm like, what? He wanted to? I'll meet him right now. So I got his phone number, and then we put together that piece, and it's pretty cool.
Brinson takes a call at strike. Yeah, Brinson, of course, from Coral Springs, grew up a Marlins fan, loved Juan Pierre growing up. And then when he was brought over in the trade with the Milwaukee Brewers, asked Juan Pierre if he could have his number. JP said, all right. Now wearing it with pride on a nightly basis for his favorite team growing up. One from Vincent Velasquez, fights that one off. 1-2. Did you ever have to do anything to get a number, or were you fortunate?
No, because I didn't really care all that much.
Really?
My number was 28 quite often throughout my career, and a number of spots it was. It was never really much of a fight. And the few places it was, I was like, hey, just give me another one. Well, you know, I got to tell you what.
I think I know where you're going with this one.
So, yeah, right. So my teammate would come at me, you know, and I had a couple guys do this in my career, like, hey, man, you want your 28? You give me gold Rolex or something like that. I look at him like, yeah, no, it's not that important to me. It was like you lobbed it over, and I'm going to lob it right back at you. No, I'll wear 27 or 14.
Right. Brinson held up, and it's once again a full count.
Nice job by Brinson. A couple of tough fastballs on that outside corner. Just enough. On the line pitches, good takes. Did some of his best work with 2 strikes.
Draws the walk to lead off the third.
Quality at bat from Brinson. Three straight innings to start the ball game. The leadoff man on for the Marlins. It's led to 1 run.
That'll bring up Starlin Castro, who doubled back in the first. So you're too nice, but what you could have done, since now I know you didn't really care what number you wore, was if anyone ever asked you for number 28, let's just say, you know how many watches you could have gotten out of that?
Nobody asked for it. That's the key. Somebody's got to want it. I just unfortunately didn't back in the situation. You're right. I mean, it's just what you want as a Hall of Famer to come to whatever team you're on and say, oh, you're wearing, that's my number. Yeah. I got to have my number, because I would have given it to him without even thinking twice.
Number 13 for the Fish, chops one to short. Kingery to second for 1. Throw took Hernandez a little bit back toward the infield, and he's able to keep his toe on the bag to retire Brinson. But Castro will reach base on the fielder's choice.
Breaking ball pulled to the left side. Kingery squares up. Slow moving play. Hernandez satisfied with getting the out at second base. Really no thought of firing across the diamond for 2. That's a bat by Brinson to start the inning. Good walk. Bring up Justin Bohr, strikeout victim his first time up.
That one didn't even get to home plate before it bounces over the shoulder of Alfaro, and into second goes Starlin Castro. The alignment against the lefty slugging Justin Bohr. Hernandez in shallow right field. Bohr drills one out towards center. Herrera had to freeze for a second, but goes back a couple of steps for out number 2.
Good signs from Justin Bohr. Velasquez, a couple fastballs by him first at bat in the zone. Fastball, boy, he turned on it and hit it hard to center. Solid contact from Justin Bohr.
Swing and a miss for Brian Anderson, who we mentioned before, a 7-game hit streak is his career long. Also 3rd longest by a Marlins rookie to start a season since Hanley Ramirez in 2006. And Alejandro De Aza the following year. It's been a good start for Brian Anderson. Toward center, that's Herrera. Had him played perfectly. For out number 3, we're through 2.5 here at Citizens Bank Park. 5-1 Phillies.
Is due up for the Phillies. He may be in the big leagues now, but back in 2006, he was still playing in Little League, and what a year for he and his teammates. They made it all the way to Williamsport, that is, to the Little League World Series. There's a picture of Kingery playing shortstop just like he does now. Guys, unfortunately, his team fell just short of a championship, but he still says it's one of his favorite baseball memories because he got to have it with his family. His dad was coach of the team. His twin brother, Sam, was one of his teammates.
Oh, Jessica, thanks so much. Yeah, Scott Kingery still he doesn't look like he's aged much, although that was about 20 minutes ago when he was playing Little League. Now he's the proud recipient of a long-term contract, 6 years and $24 million. Youngster out of Phoenix, 23 years old. And clearly the Phillies have made it known that he is going to be a part of this team going forward. Dylan Peters delivers outside.
And that's the huge favor that they did for him. I mean, let's recognize it for what it is. He's a young man. He's trying to establish himself at the major league level. The Philadelphia Phillies believed in him so much that they said, listen, we know that you're going to succeed. Let's get a deal done. What that deal does, it's a great changeup for Peters as Kingery goes down on strikes. What that contract does is take some of the weight off of it. I talked about it in the pregame. The pressure that you feel as a young player to succeed and prove to everybody that you belong. When you've got that contract in your back pocket, you take a deep breath and you say, they believe in me more than I believe in me right now. I'm going to go out there and relax and go out there and do my job. It certainly is a very unique position to be in for a very young player.
They believe in Rhys Hoskins as well, who walked with the bases loaded back in the first inning, takes a called strike here in the third. Just to finish the point on Kingery, one of the reasons why they like the guy so much, he was the only player at the major or minor league level to have 25 or more home runs and stolen bases. He had 26 homers, 29 steals last year. He had himself a pretty good spring with 5 home runs and a .411 average. I'd call that pretty good.
Well, it is, but still none of it at the major league level.
Exactly.
And I think that's where, as a young player, you know, you still, I've done it everywhere but where it matters. And coming into a couple weeks ago, he still hadn't done it. So, you know, you sit in there and you sign that contract, and it has to be, as a young player, I was never in this position. There really have been very few players in this position that said, wow, they believe in me more than I believe in myself, because he hadn't proven it. There's no way he could know what he was going to be out here on the Major League field if he hadn't done it yet.
This guy certainly has. Since August 14th of last year, Rhys Hoskins, among all Major League hitters, first in RBIs with 50, tied for third in home runs with 19, fourth in walks, tied for sixth in total bases, and tied for seventh in extra base hits. And he's got himself another knock right there through the 5.5 hole. And a one-out single for Rhys Hoskins. The MLB Ballpark app is the perfect sidekick for your visit to Marlins Park. Order food from your seats, view maps of the park, and even access your tickets to get into the park. Get up-to-date offers when you register on the app. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. After the Hoskins base hit, it's the center fielder Odubel Herrera who struck out back in the first.
And his strikeout in that first inning kind of led us down the path of hope, thinking that Dylan Peters and the Marlins were going to escape without nearly the damage that happened in the first inning.
It was a 42-pitch first inning for Dylan Peters. He bounced back in the second with 13 pitches, but he's up to 64. His next will be 65. Ripped into right field, a base hit. 2 on and 1 out.
What a pitch-to-pitch adjustment for Herrera. I almost said it didn't look like Herrera's on much of anything. The first pitch fastball blew right by him. Jumped all over that fastball in the third. Rips it into right field.
So more runners on base for Maikel Franco, who had the grand slam back in the first inning. They've had a tough time getting this guy out.
Well, the theme has been for the Phillies in this series, and we can talk all the approach you want, but get guys on in front of Franco and let him hit. 8 RBIs first 12 innings of this 3-game series.
And if you remember the pitch, Wallach was set up on the inside corner, or maybe even off the inside corner. Ball leaked back over the plate. But how do you want to see the Marlins attack him?
Well, that for me in the low zone, right there. Stay right there. Let's see if Maikel Franco can make an adjustment to that pitch. Now, I know it's 2-0. Work that lower part of the zone. Do not feed him in the upper third.
He's in there for a called strike.
All of his hits in the series have been against lefties. We're not talking high velocity. He's been hitting, has been about 92, 93, thinking back to Harlan Garcia in Thursday's ball game and below. Caleb Smith, 92, 93, but the hits that he's been getting have been from the lefties and have been up, out over the plate.
Well, with that grand slam back in the first inning, Franco is now homered in his last 5 games here at Citizens Bank Park. Really enjoying the home cooking. The next offering will be the 70th pitch of the night for Dylan Peters.
Maikel Franco came into the series 1 for 11, has since turned the tides on his season. That's the joy of the early going. Talk about hitters trying to find their stride and their swing. Sometimes it just takes one big game.
Just got a piece of that one.
A couple of really good breaking balls from Peters. The other thing you can do is get to that spot. In fact, if you can drop it, let Maikel Franco believe that there's something coming in that top half of the zone and then have it bottom out down near the knees. You might be able to get him to pound that into the ground.
Hoskins, the runner on at second. Herrera off of first. Both on with a base hit. The pitch to Franco misses, and the bases are loaded. Third walk of the night for Dylan Peters. That will bring up Aaron Altair, a guy who, along with a number of Philadelphia Phillies, is just trying to figure out kind of how the plan is going to work for the Phils. Right now, an opportunity for him that I'm sure he would like to make the most of with the bases loaded and one out.
Altair, 6'5", off to a slow start. Had a real nice season last year for the Philadelphia Phillies. You mentioned it, but he is actually one of the guys that's seeing the most pitches. He's been seeing about 5 pitches in at bat. It hasn't translated into batting average or production. He too has been trying to make the adjustments that the Philadelphia Phillies are hoping for.
Can't hold up there, and it's quickly 0-2.
Fastballs above the strike zone. This Philadelphia Phillies team 13th in the National League in on-base percentage last season.
Two.
Try by Peters, went right back up. Altair able to lay off.
And now Altair drills one. Deep left field. Dietrich is back. And that's the second grand slam the Phillies have hit tonight. They have opened up a 9-1 lead.
Consecutive fastballs to the top of the strike zone. 2 for strikes, swinging strikes. Peters back to the breaking ball. Aaron Altair all over it. Second grand slam of the game, and we're only in the 3rd inning. Philadelphia Phillies have blown this one wide open, 9-1.
Jorge Alfaro. Hot shot past Rojas and into left field for a base hit. The 5th hit of the inning.
Take another look at the home run. As I mentioned, the number of pitches at the top of the zone puts Altair on point. He's looking at the top of the strike zone. That breaking ball starts out at the top, drops back down to the thighs. On time, out in front, just enough for the grand slam.
Second time tonight, Turner's been up in the Marlins bullpen. For Altair, that should really come as no surprise. Anyone who watched Phillies games last year knows that he was a big part of their offense.
107 games last season, 19 homers, 65 RBIs, 56 OPS.
And on base plus slugging at .856 led the club along with the slugging percentage at .516. A Franco grand slam in the 1st. Altair goes deep with the bases loaded in the 3rd. And it's all Phillies up 9-1. Velasquez got a base hit back in the second inning. It was erased on a double play. This one up. Wallach toward the on-deck circle, able to put that one away for out number 2.
Nice job by Chad Wallach navigating the on-deck circle with the catch.
So with the Franco and Altair grand slam, that's the first time that the Phillies have had 2 grand slams in one game since April 27th of 2009 when Ryan Howard and Raul Ibanez connected on 2 grand slams. It's the 5th time that there have been 2 in a game in Phillies history. Back to the top of the order for Cesar Hernandez, who takes ball 1. A much different outcome in this ball game here for Dylan Peters than his first start of the season, when he went 6 scoreless against the Chicago Cubs. But to this point, he's surrendered 8 hits, the 9 runs, and the 2 grand slams. Through for a base hit. Second time Hernandez has reached tonight. And Don Mattingly is going to make the walk out to the mound to take Peters out of this ball game. He's already signaled for Turner. Come on to pitch here with 2 on and 2 out in the bottom of the 3rd. It's our Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Peters' night is done. 9-1 Phillies. By the Florida Lottery, introducing the new Florida Times the Cash scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery, celebrating 30 years of winning with their biggest scratch-off top prize ever, $15 million. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Claim it. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. The night is done for Dylan Peters as he goes 2 2/3, 9 hits, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. The runners on, still his responsibility as Jacob Turner comes out of the bullpen for the Miami Marlins.
This is the role that Jacob has been handed, probably going to be asked to get multiple innings today. This bullpen has logged a lot of innings coming in, 40 1/3. Leads Major League Baseball. 3.12 ERA for that bullpen, but for Turner, last 2 outings, once against the Cubs, once against Boston, 2 inning appearances. Good career numbers against the Philadelphia Phillies. 1.69 ERA over 5 games.
And the 9th batter of the inning for the Phillies, Carlos Santana, brushed off the plate. Ball and no strikes.
And that's 2 innings. They had 8 in the first, now 9 in the 3rd.
The Marlins bullpen has worked a lot. You can say, yeah, that they've played a lot of innings, a lot of extra innings, already 3 extra inning games. As this one is popped up right side. Who wants it? I think it's Castro. He's got it. Okay. That's out number 3. But another grand slam for the Phillies. Aaron Altair with the big swing. 9-1 after 3.
May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins.
That is by far the hardest thing we do every night. The disclaimer, reading that. There's a lot of big words in there that I usually don't have a grasp of.
Just race through it.
I go the other way. I try to go slow through it. Pausing after certain words. The whole thing down to a science right now. As does Cameron Maben. Another hit tonight, hitting .346 on the season. A lot of hard contact for this man. And a hot shot through the left side in his first at-bat. Marlins some work to do, down 9-1. Couple of grand slams for the Philadelphia Phillies in this ball game. Maikel Franco and Aaron Altair both going deep off of Dylan Peters. Peters' line is complete, 2 2/3 and 9 earned runs. A called strike 3, 4th strikeout for Velasquez. 1 away in the 4th. So to you, what was the biggest difference between tonight with Dylan Peters and when he faced the Cubs and had 6 scoreless innings?
Well, the ability to get the ground ball really stands out, and the contact, and that's just it. What did this Phillies lineup do against Peters is they battled him. They defended against the breaking ball pretty well, and it wasn't, Altair, hits a breaking ball out for a home run. Maybe that's what you'll ultimately remember. His breaking ball wasn't bad today. His fastball command wasn't bad today. What the Philadelphia Phillies did was wait him out. They had a very good approach early. Remember that first inning, they were going the other way. They were thinking about staying inside the baseball. But they forced Peters to play his hand, use all of his pitches around the strike zone, and then got themselves into a situation where they defended really well. really, to me, tonight's outing for Peters was more about the foul balls and the lack of actual in-game contact that we talk about, and the ability for the Philadelphia Phillies, which in some ways may be this new approach that they have, actually working. And that's where the evidence lies. Of course, 2 grand slams make it easy, but when you're fighting off tough pitches, when you're taking the walks, when you're making a starter labor, he is going to make a mistake eventually.
Velasquez has also labored at times, up to 72 pitches with 1 out here in the 4th inning.
We've seen a little more grip it and rip it here to start the 4th, trying to, as you pointed out, make what bullets he's got left in this ball game count. The Marlins have actually done a very nice job of putting some bats together against him as well. They've taken the walks, they've had their hits. First time through, they had 4 hits.
And now Rojas out toward left. It's going to stay up for Hoskins, and there are 2 away. And this could very easily be one of those nights where the Marlins and their stick-to-itiveness will be tested, because on a frigid night, it's 40, call it 45 degrees. You know, it's cold. You're down 9-1 in the 4th inning. It could be very easy to swing at the first pitch, treat this like a game in spring training. Let's get out of here. Let's get warm, and let's try to get him tomorrow. But this team is not going to do that tonight or any night. They are predicated on not giving away at bats, and that all goes back to that competitiveness that we've been talking about for the last week. Chad Wallach fouls another one back, and it's 0-2. Tell you what, when Velasquez wants to unleash it, he can. And that's certainly one of the things that the Phillies like about this young man.
Well, you go back to his best starts of his career. I mean, I think it was only a couple of years ago. He struck out 16 Padres in a 9-inning complete game shutout. No walks.
Well, he struck out 5 tonight with 1 walk. 1, 2, 3 in the 4th. Phillies on top 9-1. On top. Be sure to tune in to Marlins Live, the pregame show, before tomorrow's game, presented by your South Florida Honda dealers. Jessica Blaylock live on the field here in Philadelphia. What did they do in their offseason before they geared up for the 2018 season? And we'll talk with or hear from Rich Marazzi and what makes a check swing. He's our rules expert. I don't know what everybody's talking about with how cold it is in Philadelphia, by the way. I'm going sans jacket, fresh air.
Don't make me go there.
What?
You just took your jacket off.
No, I didn't.
You're sitting on it. Come on.
No, I'm not. Not at all.
All right, Rocky.
Can I get a hot chocolate up here, please?
Well, I think this is good for everybody to do. All of the Marlins fans out there that think we sound alike. If you can put a face with a voice, that should help. Right?
Two different people. Contrary to popular belief, we are two different people.
Right. Maybe this is what we need to do more often. A little more booth camp. No?
That's what we need. Like a little box. We're always in the corner.
Raise my hand when it's my turn to speak.
Yeah. I like it. Can I put my jacket back on now?
I had no problem with you, leaving it on. I mean, wasn't my call.
No, I think it was all the fur that was trying to keep me nice and insulated.
Your fur coat that you got here in Philly.
That's right.
To go along with your fur hat.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I need. I mean, I don't have a lot of insulation up here, so I trust me when we get off camera. Although we did just sign up to be on camera for the rest of the game, as Kingery is out. Yeah, I'm going to go right back to the hat that's waiting in the wings. It's a little chilly up here, no doubt about it.
A good two-seam fastball by Turner to start the fourth. Kingery down on strikes for the second time tonight.
There we are, up here in Philadelphia. Got the windows open. We are embracing the elements.
Yeah. Along with our heater under the desk.
Yeah, and my jacket, which at any moment in time I'd love to put it back on. No, that's the thing. Some people don't like calling games, but I'm glad this is one thing that you and I agree with.
That's
open the windows.
Doesn't
matter if it's 1,000 degrees. Look at Glenn Geffner there on the left, and Dave Van Horn on the right. Kyle Seeloff way up top. These guys they're not even close to bundled. They've got the windows closed. You know what? You got the Frick Award. You do what you want. Like I said before, all I know is when those plane doors open tomorrow night back in Miami, it's going to be a good feeling. Nice and toasty back home as Rhys Hoskins just walks.
Hoskins reaches for the third time tonight. A couple of walks, a base hit. The third. It's not all been about Hoskins, as we talked about coming in, and a lot of the damage he did last year against the Marlins. This Phillies lineup is starting to come to life.
So now it's Odubel Herrera, who struck out in the first and walked and scored in the third.
Every Phillies starter has a hit tonight. We're now in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Even Vince Velasquez has joined the parade.
Yeah, I counted him. Usually you disqualify that guy, but you know what? He got himself a hit, didn't he?
So for Turner, again, you mentioned before they're going to ask him to get a bunch of outs. The Marlins bullpen has worked at least 3 innings in every game. Now, of course, some teams have the benefit of, thinking of the Cubs. We've already seen the Cubs. They've got 5 guys who are veteran starters. They're going to go out there and give you 150, 75, 200 innings a year. The Marlins don't have that benefit right now. They're still feeling out some parts of this starting rotation as Herrera lifts one out to deep right field. Back is Maben at the track, and that one is off the wall. Off the top of the wall. They will hold Hoskins at third. Now, on first glance from 500 feet away, it looked like it may have caught that fence just above the scoreboard in right field. We'll get another look right here.
I'm guessing the green concrete just above the hit the fence. It did hit the fence,
but it's got to go over for it to be a home run.
It hit the fence, right in the middle.
So that scoreboard is the lower portion of the wall, and that chain link fence, boy, that hit the top of the fence. So it's got to go over that to be a home run.
Well, I got to be honest.
And Franco to left center field puts a charge into it. That one's off the top of the wall. 2 runs will come around to score. Franco, a big turnaround second, and he'll stay put as he stays red hot against the Marlins. It's now 11-1.
2 more RBIs for Maikel Franco, 10 in the series. That's right, 10 RBIs. Picking on a first pitch, fastball, thigh high, inner third.
That is consecutive hits that have gone right off that fencing. A new career high with 6 RBIs. And now the umpires are going to get together and check this out. And while they do, I will refer to the picture that I took just before the game, the ground rules here at Citizens Bank Park. Left field to center field, which is what seems to be in question right now. If the ball hits to the left of the vertical yellow line above the 387 mark, that's dead center field. But the 387 mark on the fence in left center field, right there. So if it hits to the left of that yellow line, it's a home run. If it hits to the right of the yellow line, the ball is in play. So here's another look. That is clearly to the right of it, unless they're looking at whether or not that Phillies fan touched the ball.
Arms swinging around out there.
Crew chief Kerwin Danley, the third base umpire Paul Nauert will take a look at it. So again, those are the 2 things that I would think are in play, whether or not it was to the right or the left of that yellow line, because that's where the ground rules come into play, or if there was any sort of fan interference. The umpires, an umpire review here, and so no interference. It will be a 2 RBI double for Maikel Franco. But I think Franco would still take it because he has had himself quite a game and a half against the Marlins. A grand slam, a 2-run double, and now it's Aaron Altair, who also has a grand slam tonight. He takes low ball 1 from Jacob Turner.
Altair with the grand slam, his last at bat, snapped an 0 for 17.
Time for the Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. Tonight marks the 5th time the Phillies have hit 2 grand slams in a game, and the first time since April 29th or April 27th of 2009 against Washington. History the Marlins are not thrilled to be a part of, I'm sure. Just to get back to what I was saying before about the rotation for the Marlins and how there have been certainly some moving parts, 17-inning games and all the like. The announced starters for the Mets series: Jose Urena, Caleb Smith, and Harlan Garcia. As Altair fouls that one away. So we've seen Garcia come out of the bullpen a couple of times. Some lengthy outings for Juan Nieves and Don Mattingly. And now he will get his first start of 2018 on Wednesday against the Mets. Altair draws the walk.
And also along the lines of the number of players who will get the opportunity to start for the Marlins this year. It's the idea of the internal competition. I mean, that's just it. If you take hold of an opportunity, really talking about the young guys or even the starting staff outside of a few select, I'm not talking to Urena here. You understand what I'm talking about, more along the lines of the bottom half of that rotation. If you're not getting the job done, there's an opportunity for other young individuals at AAA that may capitalize on those opportunities. That's just it. You heard me use the words internal competition. That's what they represent. Get a chance to come up, do the job, and if you do it, you get to keep doing it. If you don't, then sometimes you may look in a different direction as an organization.
Harlan Garcia sitting next to Tomas Feliz. Another name that had been thrown around quite a bit, brought over in the trade with the St. Louis Cardinals, was Sandy Alcantara. Slated to start tonight in New Orleans. That game currently in a delay right now, but he set to make his New Orleans debut tonight. Certainly no timetable as to when or if he'll be up with the Marlins, but just based on pure ability, you'd think he'll be up at some point. Had himself a really good spring. There were just a couple of little tweaks that the Marlins wanted to see him fix or fine-tune, and that's why he was sent down to AAA. And again, weather permitting, slated to get his AAA season underway tonight. Five runs in the first for the Phillies, 4 runs in the third, and 2 more so far here in the fourth. They lead at 11-1. 1-2 to Alfaro, a base hit up the middle. Around from third, here's Franco. Throw is cut off, and it's 12-1.
Well, the line continues to move for the Philadelphia Phillies around the bases, and hits continue to come up and down the lineup. Alfaro comes into tonight's ball game struggling. 1 hit on the season, 2 hits in tonight's ball game. Pick up an RBI with that swing.
The number 9 hitter and the pitcher, Vincent Velasquez. Takes a called strike. He singled and was erased on a double play in the second inning. Popped up behind home plate in the third. Ball on a strike. He's able to hold up. Traded from the Astros to the Phillies in 2015. A number of different parts of that trade, but one of which, Ken Giles, for a large portion, if not all of last year, was the closer for the World Series champion Houston Astros. Of course, Giles had a rough postseason, but a world champion nonetheless. And Velasquez, as Todd mentioned earlier, has had flashes of brilliance here in Philadelphia. the end of the bat, and that will get into right field. His second hit. And the bases will be loaded again.
The hits just keep on coming now. 13 Philadelphia Philly hits tonight.
This just has that feel of one of those nights. I mean, there have been some hard hit balls, don't get me wrong. I mean, they've hit the ball pretty hard at times, but it just has the feel of one of those nights where you think to yourself, well, it just counts for one.
Whatever you're looking for in the batter's box right now, you're getting. Whether it's a 2-1 pitch or a 0-2 pitch, and we've seen it because it's been hard hit balls. It's almost as if the Philadelphia Phillies, dare I say, and nobody out there jump all of us, it's like you know what's coming, but it just seems like it's one of those nights. They have been on everything. They've been on the curveball. They've been on the fastball. We've had a couple base hits on the changeup. Velasquez has got 2 base hits the other way.
Alfaro Velasquez. Already 2 grand slams for the Phillies tonight. One from Franco in the first and one from Altair in the third. Vincent Velasquez, the beneficiary of a lot of run support tonight. Dribbler up the line. Turner over to first for the second out, but another run comes in to score. As the Phillies tack on another. It's 13-1.
Two-seam fastball. We get Cesar Hernandez to hit it off the end of the bat. Slow roller. Good job getting the out at first base. Now 2 down here in the 4th. Philadelphia Phillies are going to bat around again. Paul, what do you got?
Yes, they are. Fortunately, the scorebook is not a complete disaster at this point.
Not like the 17-inning affair?
Yeah, I made it through 16 innings of that one. So I was actually kind of proud of myself. Now, see, that's the thing. There's a lot of pressure here on Turner to retire Santana because
then you lose a whole inning.
Then you lose a whole inning. You got to white out the numbers up top. So there's a lot riding on this run. I mean, I can hack it. I'm a professional, at least in the sense that I get paid for what I do. But
Cesar Hernandez, Carlos Santana have hit in every inning that we've played tonight. Marlins, Phillies, 4 innings, 4 at-bats.
Yeah, 8 men came to the plate in the first. 3 men came to the plate in the second because there was a double play that Hernandez hit into. But then in the third, there were 9. And Santana is the 9th here in the 4th. And Santana unloads deep right and gone. A 3-run home run. As the Phillies have opened up a 16-1 lead.
Well, whatever it is, it's contagious in that Phillies dugout. Started with Maikel Franco, and he passed it on to his teammates, and they gladly accepted it. We talked about this Phillies lineup struggling coming in. Of course, they've gone up against some really strong starters in New York, obviously in Atlanta. There's appear to be in gear here in Philadelphia as we speak. This lineup has erupted. 16 runs, 14 hits.
Outside to Scott Kingery. This, by the way, the 1,000th career hit for Carlos Santana.
And for Carlos Santana, watch the glove. Didn't move much, did it? A little bit down, a little bit more towards the middle of the plate, but not a terrible miss, but it really just speaks to where the Phillies are tonight. If you miss by an inch or two, you are being made to pay the price.
Kingery takes low. And it's 3 balls and no strikes. They have scored them in bunches. 5 runs in the first, 4 in the third, 7 here in the fourth. 2 grand slams and a 3-run home run. 3-2. And ball 4. Third walk issued by Turner. Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Girls Inc., inspiring all girls to be strong, smart, and bold. The combination of long-lasting mentoring relationships, safe pro-girl environments, and research-based programming equip girls to lead healthy lives and become leaders in their communities. Visit foxsportsupports.com to learn more. It was the bases loaded walk for Rhys Hoskins back in the first inning that got the scoring started. For the Phillies, there has been a lot more where that came from. Shortly after that, Mikel Franco hit a grand slam. Aaron Altair had a grand slam in the third, and now Rhys Hoskins shoots one the other way. Maben back toward the wall, and it's out of his reach. Kingery's going to come around all the way from first. He'll score on the Hoskins double. It's now 17-1 Philadelphia.
Well, the Philadelphia Phillies' most dangerous hitter, Rhys Hoskins, you know he wasn't going to miss out on this party tonight. His 4th time on base in 4 innings. Slicing double off the glove of Maben. Outstanding effort. Fastball, outer edge at the knees. Covers so well. And they're just getting back to approach, and another extra base hit for Mr. Hoskins. Out. Looks like he's going to make a double switch.
It's Chris O'Grady out there in the Marlins bullpen. As Turner's night is done, looks like Chad Wallach's night might be done too. That's probably where the double switch will come from. The Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. All Phillies tonight. A double switch for Don Mattingly. Tomas Talise comes in. He'll take over for Chad Wallach, who made the final out of inning number 4. New pitcher is Chris O'Grady, third of the night for the Marlins, as he takes over for Jacob Turner. Never faced Philadelphia in his career. Those are the season numbers for O'Grady. Close to home up here in Philadelphia. I said close because we're in a couple of hours, but from Nyack, New York. 27-year-old will try to get a few outs here for the Marlins, because the last thing you want to do is go through a bunch more arms. Somebody's got to give you length tonight. They had the off day yesterday, which was nice. The off day Wednesday, which was nice as well. But after tonight, they've got a game tomorrow and 4 straight, including tomorrow. 3 with the Mets before a midweek off day.
It's the 5th appearance for Chris O'Grady. He's done a nice job out of the bullpen. Fastball, curveball, that's a good cutter. High velocity, 89, 90, 91 miles an hour. Moves the ball around the zone.
And 0-1 to Odubel Herrera, called strike 2. Herrera struck out in the first inning, singled and scored in the 3rd, doubled and scored earlier in this 4th.
Once, tried it twice. Good job by O'Grady. Right back out there. Borderline pitch. Pitch before. Get Herrera to expand.
On 1 and 2, that one just missed the corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Back tomorrow. Marlins live on at 1:35 first pitch, and the man who will throw that first pitch, Jake Arrieta. Phillies get their first regular season look at their free agent acquisition. Signed late in the offseason, as it seemed like a number of big-time free agents did, and the Phillies certainly hope that he's going to be what he was in Chicago.
He is still one of the best right-handed pitchers in the game of baseball. A couple of seasons ago, he was otherworldly. He had an incredible year in 2015.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, and the inning is finally over. 8 runs come across. 8 runs, 6 hits in this 4th. 17-1 Phillies.
This one wide open. It's a 17-1 ball game in the 5th inning. The Marlins have announced their probables for that series at Marlins Park against the Mets. On Monday, we're going to see Jose Urena. Tuesday, it will be Caleb Smith. And then on Wednesday, Harlan Garcia is going to get the start for Miami. And guys, a well-deserved opportunity for him. He has looked good in long relief, a 1.80 ERA on the season so far.
Jessica, thanks so much. Yeah, well-deserved. To say the least, as Tomas Solis takes a called strike. So again, a lot of moving parts in this starting rotation for the Marlins, not just in this first week, but probably throughout the season. But you always kind of thought in some form or fashion Harlan Garcia was going to be a part of this rotation at some point.
Most of us just believed that maybe he was going to go down and pick up some of those starts in AAA. That's just not going to be the case. See a fly ball to left off the bat of Solis. Start the top of the 5th. But getting back to Harlan Garcia. Harlan has done a fantastic job through his first 10 innings at the major league level. Let's not forget he went 6 innings. The 17-inning marathon against the Cubs, and we were all sitting here going, that's just like a start. Those are all big outs, and he's proving to himself that his stuff plays. Again, getting stretched out and being ready to be a starter is so different than working out of the bullpen and how you prepare to do that. But Harlan Garcia has actually been in more of that, a role that is more like that so far. Of course, we're talking small sample size here, only 8 games, but his appearances have been more like a starter. Get him in the rotation, why not? Mixing his pitch as well. Saw him the other day. Make a couple of mistakes, but again, all in all, first 10 innings, very solid from Harlan Garcia. Speaking of solid, Vincent Velasquez has settled down.
Well, last half inning we were talking about Jake Arrieta and how Arrieta gets the ball tomorrow for the first time in a Phillies uniform, at least in the regular season. But before they brought in Jake Arrieta, the hopes, and they certainly still are, hopes are high for Vincent Velasquez to be a leader in this rotation for the Philadelphia Phillies. Last year, he had a 5.13 ERA, the highest of his big league career, and he made only 15 starts. But he came into camp this year with an extra 10 pounds of muscle. He actually exchanged texts with Gabe Kapler prior to spring training. And of course, Kapler, as has been well documented, trying to instill some confidence in this whole team. Say this is our new philosophy. He's been very, very out front about what they're doing, and that was one of the things. They knew that they were going to lean on Velasquez, who's trying to instill some confidence in this young man, who induces the ground ball to second base, underhand flip for out number 2. That'll bring up Lewis Brinson. But even their pitching coach, Rick Kranitz, said about Velasquez, this is the beginnings of becoming a quality major league pitcher, and that Velasquez is taking a step forward. See Rick Kranitz there on the right side of the screen with his arm on the railing. And Gabe Kapler, first-year manager here in Philadelphia.
Well, it'll be interesting to even see. We've heard an awful lot about the new philosophies here in Philadelphia with Gabe Kapler at the helm. Velasquez is in a he's pitching in a game that's 17-1. From now till the end of his outing, whatever that is, these pitches are not going to be valued as high pressure or high leverage situation. This is merely pitch count, pitch effectiveness, and length as far as the game is concerned. So, a lot of people would say, well, this is a game. I've got 85. I should maybe go 105, 110.
They'll need 86 to get through 5 innings of work as Brinson is retired. Marlins go 1-2-3 in the 5th. West, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By the Cleveland Clinic, stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida, and by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center in pursuit of your care. Nice brisk night in Philadelphia outside of the score tonight for the Marlins, down by 16 runs as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. And the question is, what is the way to retire Maikel Franco? They have not yet figured that one out. He had a big night on Thursday, or a big afternoon on Thursday, a double shy of the cycle. He's got a grand slam, a double, and 6 RBIs in this one, and now sends this one out to center field. Brinson a few steps in front of the track for out number 1.
Ball out regardless. Marlins will take it right now. The 10 RBIs that Franco has in the series, it's creeping up on a record. Michael Barrett actually has it for RBIs against the Marlins in a 3-game series. Back in April of 2002, he had 11, as we've witnessed through a game and a half. Maikel Franco has 10. Chase Utley had a couple of 10 RBI series against the Miami Marlins in 05 and 2013. And Rhys Hoskins, in fact, did it last year. Of course, he did it in the 4-game series in August, also 10 RBIs against the Marlins. So it's happened a few different times, but Maikel Franco in some pretty good company there.
This guy had a big swing of the bat earlier too. Aaron Altair, who fights that one off into the netting above the Phillies dugout. Altair with a grand slam back in the 3rd, walked and scored in the 4th. A busy 4th inning, an 8-run 4th inning. 12 men came to the plate, 8 runs scored on 6 hits. The last 2 innings for the Philadelphia Phillies, they have figured it out offensively. 12 runs on 11 hits in the 3rd and 4th inning combined. Foul ball for Altair against Chris O'Grady, the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Miami Marlins. Dylan Peters went the first 2 2/3, gave up 9 hits and 9 runs. And Jacob Turner came in, worked an inning, gave up 6 hits and 8 runs, all of which were earned. Walked 3, struck out 1. Then O'Grady came in and struck out Odubel Herrera, the last of the 12 men to step to the plate in the 4th inning. O'Grady in those short sleeves on a chilly night delivers, and once again Altair fouls it off.
I'm sure Aaron Altair will tell you early on this season, nothing has been easy. 9 pitches this at bat. And a couple of hits on the season. Of course, the grand slam tonight. You see him fouling off pitch after pitch. And he's got some strikeouts go along with his early season slump, but he has been battling. He's been seeing an awful lot of pitches.
And now Altair down the left field line. And foul. You know, the grand slam tonight for Aaron Altair, not the first of his career, by the way. Another look to see how close this one was to extra bases. Relatively close. Not the first of his career. In fact, he is the only player to date with a grand slam off of Clayton Kershaw. So, you know, if you're going to do it, take a brand name deal. That's exactly what this guy did right here.
Yeah, that's kind of like your response to anything.
Check his swing. He did not. 2 away in the 5th. It's time for our Toyota Inside Look. So pitches per plate appearance. This is what the Phillies do. Exactly what Altair just did to drive up that average of pitches per plate appearance. Entering the day at 4.41. And part of that new philosophy. A lot of different layers to that new philosophy here in Philadelphia, but one of them was see more pitches. And they have certainly done that tonight. As Jorge Alfaro takes the ball outside.
Well, 6 walks tonight for the Philadelphia Phillies. All 6 have scored. 15 walks in the first 2 games by Marlins pitching. Philadelphia Phillies have done a pretty good job, as we've talked about. The home run ball, the extra bases, the hits. Well, they've taken the walks as well, and that's what all adds up to 17, my friend.
Guerrero loosening for the Marlins. Fall got a piece of that one back to the backstop. A ball and 2 strikes. Alfaro, a couple of hits tonight, struck out in the 1st, but then singled in the 3rd and had an RBI single in the 4th.
Alfaro, impressive 29-game stretch in September 2017. Hit .318, 5 home runs.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. A couple of strikeouts in the inning for Chris O'Grady. We're through 5 in Philly. All Philly. Geico presents This Day in History. Let's go back to 2012. Hanley Ramirez, Omar Infante, and John Buck homered to give the Marlins their first win as the Miami Marlins. You believe it's already been, this is the 6th year of it already. And still, I probably made the mistake 3 times already this year. So he was still calling the Florida. So it's not that. Let's go. Let's get over the hump, folks. Miami Marlins. New logos, new ballpark. And for 2018 to be on a new era for this franchise. Vince Velasquez back out for the 6th inning. Starlin Castro, Justin Bour, and Brian Anderson with a comfortable lead to work with.
Starlin Castro extended his season-long hitting streak to 8 games. Double in the 1st inning. Center field gap.
Chop to short. 1 away. And And it looks as though we have a new shortstop. But right, look at that. There's the Philly fanatic. and poor Jessica Blaylock over there.
You know what? I'm actually really excited about this because word on the street was that the Philly fanatic was always in love with Craig Minervini. He always gave Craig a hard time when he came here and ignored me. And it is about time the Philly fanatic saw the light and realized who the better option was between me and Craig Minervini.
I'm staying out of that one. I am staying out of that one. Oh, wow. Look at that. See, that trip to Philadelphia was worth it now, wasn't it?
I do very well with mascots, Paul. I do very well with mascots. What can I say?
Justin Bohr, a high fly ball down the left field line, but that one will hook toward the seats. For those scoring at home, there is a new shortstop as Pedro Florimon is taken over at short. Scott Kingery moves from short to second. And Nick Williams is taken over for Rhys Hoskins out in left field. But Hoskins not out of the game, by the way. Hoskins is over at first after Carlos Santana hit a home run for career hit number 1,000. Santana's day is done. And that speaks to some of the, some would say, versatility of the Philadelphia Phillies roster. That would be the positive way to look at it. And then the other side of it is, you know, too many guys for too many spots, or too many guys for not enough spots.
Well, it's the new norm in Major League Baseball. You see it. Top end teams have it. The Cubs have it. The Astros have it. The Yankees have it. You're moving guys around the field, asking guys to play different positions. In a lot of ways, is the new norm. In fact, I was telling my son just the other day, and he was taking ground balls at third base. Now my son's a very good center fielder. My oldest son, Ty, is a very good center fielder, and he was like, you know, should I be taking ground balls at third base? I said, Ty, I said, you look around Major League Baseball today, and you see it everywhere you go. The ability for these younger players, look at Kingery. Kingery gets to the big leagues. What got him here? The ability to play multiple positions. If he wasn't able to play multiple positions, does he get the contract? Does he do what he did in big league camp? You see the ground ball to Hoskins at first, the second out in the sixth. Does that happen? And I think for today's younger players who are watching Major League Baseball, if you've got the opportunity to play another position, get better at a second position, practice it. It's only going to make your value that much greater as you hopefully head to college or the higher ranks of baseball. You'll find out that versatility is a plus. Managers love it.
Brian Anderson 0 for 2. 7-game hit streak on the line here in the 6th inning as he takes a called strike.
Sometimes these can be the toughest at bats in a season. And standing out in the temperatures, watching the Phillies run around the bases. And you're asked to come up and hit, and there'll be 45, 50 minutes in between at bats. And you had mentioned the Marlins not giving things away, and these can really be a challenge for a player.
Approaching 100 pitches for Vince Velasquez. The next will be number 97. The 0-2 to Anderson is upstairs, and it's 1-2. That 26 pitch first inning gave up the run, and was really able to take a deep breath in the bottom of the inning when his team scored 5. He freezes Anderson for out number 3 here in the 6th. Home half coming up. Baseball presented by T-Mobile, the best network for streaming baseball because your stadium should be where you make it. This stadium in the beautiful city of Philadelphia. Chilly night, but it's been a fun trip out here. First road trip of the 2018 season. A quick road trip, of course. The travel day here on Wednesday, the game Thursday, off day yesterday. And then the game obviously tonight and then tomorrow before returning back home. Some changes for the Miami Marlins as Yadiel Rivera takes over at second base. Starlin Castro's day is done. As Tyrone Guerrero will come into pitch, fourth pitcher of the night for the Marlins.
We saw the electric fastball on Thursday afternoon's game. Came in and worked an inning, struck out 3, didn't walk a batter. It's been good. It's been multiple strikeouts in 2 of his 4 appearances. So 2 pitches for Guerrero. You'll see the slider, you'll see the fastball. Yep, that's about right. 97 to 99. See some awkward swings on a night that catching one off the end of the bat's probably not a good idea, although the Phillies have not caught too many balls off the end of the bat tonight.
.98 miles an hour to Vincent Velasquez, who's got himself a couple of hits in this ballgame. Strikeout for Guerrero, his first of the night, but the 3rd consecutive Philly who goes down by way of the K. 1 out here in the 6th.
Said it on Thursday, I'll say it once again. You're probably going to see a heavy dosage, heavy fastball usage from Guerrero. Talk about the temperatures tonight. This Phillies team has been swinging it well, but Guerrero an overpowering fastball.
This is Nick Williams. Hard hit ball, base hit into right field. Now, it was Nick Williams who had the comments that came out the other day as we were talking last half inning about how are the Phillies going to get all these guys in the lineup and everything else. And of course, Nick Williams hasn't gotten as much playing time as I'm sure he would like, as Pedro Florimon digs in. And Nick Williams said, regarding the lineup, I guess the computers are making it. I don't know. Referencing the team's reliance on analytics as they kind of put a lineup together. He said, I don't get any of it, but what can I do? I'm not going to complain about it because I have 0 power. I'm just letting it ride. Now, Nick Williams further in those quotes, he said, listen, I'm a rookie, I've been around long, it is what it is, I'll do what I'm told, paraphrasing. But that then goes to the big picture discussion about how, again, the Phillies have been very outspoken about how they're going to do certain things. And guys are not going to get, your traditional 600, 650, 700 plate appearances in a season. The way that it kind of breaks down, they've got Herrera, Santana, Hernandez, Hoskins, Williams, Crawford, Altair, Kingery, Franco, right? 9 guys who in most lineups could probably fit in an everyday role somehow, some way. But there's overlap there with some of those positions. That one's past Rivera and into right field. Back-to-back hits for the Phillies here in the 6th. So those 9 players. So Kapler said that he envisions that each will have 450 or more plate appearances. But keep in mind that no National League team in the expansion era has ever finished with more than 8 players that had 450 plate appearances. So a juggling act for the Phillies this year and Gabe Kapler.
Well, in order to keep everybody happy, that's the way it needs to be. Let's not forget, Nick Williams had an outstanding run last year. I know it got called up in June, 83 games in 2017, 12 home runs, 55 RBIs, 811 OPS.
Kingery with a jolt down the left field line. That one's into the corner. That's going to score Williams around from second. And moving from first to third is Florimon. An RBI double for Scott Kingery.
Talked about the many fastballs. The location for Guerrero needs to be just a little bit better. You saw Talise set up away that toward the inner half of the plate. Kingery jumped all over it, driving in the 18th run of the game. Really, it just comes down to the players trusting their manager and the process. The question is, will they do it? And at the end of the season, that very well may be where you find your answer.
Blocked by Talise.
I've had this conversation with a few different people, high-ranking people in a couple of different organizations, and they believe that there is a process to this, and that this conversation where the idea of multiple people getting fewer at bats but involving more people, that it's got a shelf life. Believe me, the players are not going to be thrilled with this long term. I mean, there's one guy right now, what we say, Rhys Hoskins maybe, who's going to get 600, 700 bats this season. Probably Cesar Hernandez, that would be my guess. Doing a fantastic job with top of the lineup. I mean, you kind of look around, and you think that there could be a multitude of answers for, the starting pitcher that day and how many different lineup combinations Gabe Kapler comes up with.
Yeah, I would think that the 4 locks for the Phillies on a daily basis: Herrera, Santana, Hernandez, and Hoskins. And then it's I don't want to say piecemeal, because that would diminish the players and just figure, we're just trying to fill out a lineup. That's not what I mean at all. Again, it's a good problem to have if you're looking at it from a depth perspective, that they've got a lot of different options. But, and again, you've been down that road before. When you're a player, you get to either arbitration or contract time. Hoskins in the air toward right center field. Brinson moves over, but it'll be Maben. And that's deep enough to score the run, as Florimon will tag from third. Another run for the Phillies tonight. So yeah, I mean, you've been there. It's one thing in between the months of April and October when you're not playing every day like you think you are, and then there's the off season when it comes to contract time.
Yeah,
and then they look at your numbers.
I got one answer for all of this. You take half these players who we know are really good players and who could be getting 550, 600 bats in a season. They get half of that even with the good numbers, and you go to arbitration, they say you're a part-time player. Yeah, that's not going to be a fun conversation. So we'll see how long it works.
Well, Dougal Herrera takes upstairs. He struck out in the first, and he struck out in the fourth. Well, he struck out in his second at bat in the fourth. He also doubled and scored in the fourth. Singled and scored back in the third. Big swing and a miss on 100 miles an hour from Guerrero. He's got a good fastball to fall in love with it. 78% of the time he threw it on Thursday.
It was an effective weapon. The Phillies had not seen Guerrero. Came out, as I said, struck out 3 now today. They got a pretty good look at him, and now this is the second time they're facing him. I talked about the chilly conditions, but the way this Phillies lineup is hitting, you've got to be careful with your fastball location right now. We've even seen this inning.
Two balls and a strike with Kingery off of second. Into the netting, 2-2. Maikel Franco waits on deck. Guerrero and the Marlins would like to leave him right there, as he has had himself a big night. Dribbler up the third base line. Guerrero fields, has no play. An infield single for Odubel Herrera, his third hit of the night.
The bounces continue to go the Phillies' way. Guerrero didn't see too much of the slider. Good spot to break it out, right? Guerrero completely fooled on the pitch. Cues it off the end of the bat, and it's like a bunt. Guerrero wisely eats it. Playing deep at third.
And it's moments like that, which is why I said earlier, it just feels like one of those nights. It's been a big night for Franco. Grand slam in the first, walked and scored in the third, a 2-run double in the fourth. '99, right at the belt. Literally at the belt, not the belt of the strike zone. Down the left field line, Dietrich moving over and has room to put it away for out number 3. We are through 6. Phillies in control tonight at Citizens Bank. It has been all Phillies tonight at Citizens Bank Park. Paul Severino, Todd Hollingsworth, glad that you're with us. 19-1, Phillies on top as we go to the 7th inning. All in all, a pretty good start for Vince Velasquez. However, his night is done as he and Gabe Kapler give way to the bullpen. Jake Thompson takes over in his 3rd big league season. Thompson will face Cameron Maybin, Miguel Rojas. And we'll see what, after a double switch, Don Mattingly does with the number 8 spot in that lineup. Maybin pops this one up, and that will reach the seats. Maybin singled in the 2nd inning and struck out in the 4th. One of 6 strikeout victims for Vincent Velasquez. 6 innings, 4 hits, a run that was earned, a walk, and those 6 Ks. Junichi Tezawa for the Marlins in the pen. Chopped foul. For Thompson, last year against the Marlins, really all of his career numbers against the Marlins. 1-0 with a 3.31 ERA in 3 games.
All those games as a starter. Thompson now working out of the bullpen for the Philadelphia Phillies.
One out.
Join us April 13th when Miami takes on Pittsburgh for fireworks at the park. Catch all the action at 7:10 and then enjoy a post-game fireworks display. Miami skyline as a scenic backdrop. Purchase your tickets for fireworks at the park at marlins.com.
There's Miguel Rojas, singled in the 2nd inning. Flew out in the 4th. Silly me, bookkeeping here. Yadiel Rivera came in as a double switch, so he will bat after Rojas here in the 7th. Again, you mentioned Thompson as a reliever this year, starter last year, but certainly some good problems to have for the Philadelphia Phillies as they have fortified their starting rotation with the acquisition of tomorrow's starter, Jake Arrieta. Rojas couldn't hold up, and it's 0-2. In fact, he did hold up. It's 1-2. But just again, on the whole for this Phillies rotation, didn't get a chance to see Aaron Nola in this series or Jared Eichhoff. But we saw Pivetta on Thursday, Velasquez today, and then Jake Arrieta tomorrow.
You'll see from Thompson as his role has now changed. You mentioned the 3 starts being in the starting rotation last year. Showed up to spring training. Ready to make a roster. In fact, made his first opening day roster with a solid spring. 2.08 ERA. 4 strikeouts in 9 games.
Two-way here in the 7th inning. Back-to-back strikeouts for Thompson.
Continues to use his secondary pitches to pick up strikeouts along the way. And you see Rojas fooled by it. A little awkward swing.
Now Yadiel Rivera. Came in to play second base last half inning. Another one of those players for the Marlins that can play a number of different positions. Playing second now. He's played short. He's played in the outfield, mostly in left when he's out there. He's also been taking ground balls over at first. The guy who Perry Hill, the first base coach and infield coach for the Marlins, they love this guy's defense. Defense A, versatility B. A lot to like about Yadiel Rivera. In the National League with all the double switches going on, a really valuable player to have on your roster.
Nice job fouling off the 2-strike pitch. Thompson has thrown a few sliders this inning. Little go-to pitch.
There's Bone.
Bone, the defense has been good tonight. They're beating the Phillies in the error column.
It's just blown out toward right field. Altair puts it away. A 1-2-3 7th inning. We move to the bottom of the 7th. Phillies in control. Collinsworth. It's time for tonight's Coors Light refreshing finish. Aaron Altair with a grand slam. Part of a 8-run fourth inning for the Philadelphia Phillies. And Altair will lead things off. It's been all Phils tonight. 19 runs on 19 hits. As Braxton Lee, who was recalled a couple of days ago with Garrett Cooper going on the disabled list, he'll take over in right field and hit the number 3 spot in the lineup as Junichi Tazawa comes in out of the bullpen. 5th pitcher of the night for the Marlins.
Good start for Tazawa in his 2018 season. 3 scoreless appearances, working on number 4 tonight. Good work. Picked up 5 strikeouts along the way. He's had the splitty going. See the big curveball at times, certainly part of his arsenal now, along with the 2-seamer. 92 to 94 miles an hour. Good stuff. He's come in throwing strikes. Walked a couple of hitters. The consistency of the split finger has been good.
So after tonight's ball game, the Philadelphia Phillies and Marlins go at it tomorrow afternoon at 1:35. Then head back south, thankfully. A little warmer down there. Back home as the New York Mets come to town. And it's a red-hot New York Mets team. They won their 4th straight game. They are 6-1 to start the season. And they had to go through the Washington Nationals today, and the Mets are off to a great start.
The starting pitching's been outstanding. It's what Mets fans have envisioned for quite some time. Starting staff together, everybody pitching at full strength and getting it done, and it's actually going on right now. Just foul. Now the third base line.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see those pitchers firsthand. We got Syndergaard Monday. And then I believe it's DeGrom on Tuesday. And at last check, I do not think the Mets had a starter for Wednesday just yet. I do know that the Marlins have a starter on Wednesday, and that's Harlan Garcia.
It's an interesting conversation. Most people around baseball would tell you they're taking the Washington Nationals in the National League East, and I think the Mets may have something to say about that this year. Offense is looking pretty good. They're scoring some runs, but when you've got the starting staff that they have, and not that the Nats don't have this, they do. I think most people would agree when healthy, the Mets feel like they have maybe a little bit more in that rotation. And off to a great start.
Blocked by Talese. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Altair. Yeah, they made some moves, obviously bringing back Jay Bruce, who was out there, as were many free agents, for a long time, just kind of lingering. Nobody really seemed like they got the money that they had hoped for, but you know, there's certainly teams. Phillies are one of them, Carlos Santana, but you know, the Mets were able to corral Jay Bruce at a pretty decent price. And Todd Frazier, as Altair is retired for out number 1. Speaking of the Mets, it's time for our showstopper. On the other side of that Mets victory was Bryce Harper going deep yet again. That's his 5th. I think he's going to make some money this offseason, but it just if he keeps this going, I don't think he's going to be.
He has the best year of his career in his walk year, his free agent year.
If he hits 130 home runs this year, I think he'll make some.
Yeah, we're not going there, but still, I mean, again, if he creates a ceiling, you know, like the numbers that you feel like you may never see again.
Right.
You know, for himself, wow. MVP say type season, maybe even better than his last one, where the numbers are through the roof. It just could change the game.
Do you think, and we're just talking as fans here right now, do you think he can get to 400?
Oh, I do. I wouldn't put that past anybody, especially when you talk about a lifetime contract.
Alfaro out toward right center field, and this one will clear the wall. A home run.
My goodness.
Jorge Alfaro to right center field. It's 20-1.
This must be the power that the Philadelphia Phillies love about Alfaro. That ball was absolutely hit. Cold night in Philadelphia. This was over the seats in right center and into the bullpen. The reaction inside the stadium when this ball was hit was it's gone off the bat. You don't see that too often from a right-handed hitter going, well, more center than right, but ball way gone.
Jake Thompson will hit for himself here in the 7th inning.
So the Phillies get to 20 runs tonight.
That's right. How many did they have coming into today?
19, I believe.
That is correct, sir.
I'm sure there'll be an article in the paper tomorrow about the Phillies offense roaring, up with the league leaders.
Yeah.
That's how early in the season it is. You went from 19 to 39 in one night.
That's right.
This Phillies offense is averaging 6 runs a ball game. We're averaging 3 coming in.
Fun with numbers.
That's right.
Breaking ball misses upstairs. A ball and 2 strikes. Philly fanatic, listen, I don't care, up 20-1, down 20-1, 90 degrees, or like it is tonight, 48 degrees. That guy is having a good time. Or gal. I don't know what the fanatic is. I think we can also report Gabe Kapler's off the hot seat. Took a day and a half. Big hack there by Thompson. He's out there nodding to himself like he is locked in right now.
Verbal abuse after missing the high fastball. Really expect some results here.
We saw Velasquez get 2 hits to help his cause earlier, so want to miss the boat. The 1-2. Swung on and tipped. Still 1-2. You know what else I just thought of? So when we see the Mets Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at Marlins Park, we will already have seen our 3rd first-year manager. Called strike 3. When you combine the most provocative man in sports with the most interesting man in sports, you get opinion that cuts through the hype. Catch Speak for Yourself with Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock weekdays at 5 Eastern, only on FS1. Yeah, there's 5 first-time managers in the game in 2018. We've seen Alex Cora. We got Gabe Kapler right now. We got Mickey Callaway coming up next week. Not a bad start for Mickey Callaway.
I'm going to say the other 2, Alex Cora, Boston Red Sox are rolling right now.
That's right.
Mets are rolling. Phillies seem to be getting it right on the Marlins.
Red Sox had a big day. Grand slam in that one too. Xander Bogaerts connected on a grand slam. Hot shot towards second, gobbled up by Rivera. Those soft hands we're talking about. Nice play to his left for out number 3 in the 7th. But one more run on the board to the 8th here in Philly. Trevor Richards and Jake Arrieta, the two starting pitchers in tomorrow afternoon's affair, the last of a 3-game set. And if the score holds, it'll be the Phillies looking for the sweep of the Marlins, and the Marlins want to get out of Philly with at least a victory. Top of the 8th we go. It's been all Phillies in this one. Tomas Tellez to lead things off, and he takes a called strike from Jake Thompson. Tellez, and then the top of the order, and Derek Dietrich and Lewis Brinson. Tellez came in as part of a double switch earlier in this ball game.
Well, Richards' changeup might be the great equalizer tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. Second time out there. Good stuff that first time through the lineup against the Boston Red Sox. Now, his breaking ball, as we know, is a little bit of a work in progress, but as good as that changeup was, it might be fantastic against this Phillies lineup that is hitting just about everybody's fastball right now.
Big swing from Tellez, and the foul tip got a piece of Alfaro.
He got underneath his leg.
Ankle, maybe? Says he's all right. Kyle Bearclaw in the Marlins bullpen.
A few days since Kyle has worked an inning. Go back to April 3rd. His last appearance.
And to finish that talk that we were having before about the first-year managers, so we've seen the 3. We'll also see another one in Aaron Boone in a couple of weeks when we go to New York. He also is in a pretty nice spot, a win-now spot. Tellez with the chopper cutting across his Franco to make the play. One out here in the 8th.
The Philadelphia Phillies all smiles tonight. Play by Maikel Franco as he cuts across the infield, able to square the shoulders just enough and get a strong throw across to Hoskins.
That is a long run. But as you know, third baseman always taught, get whatever you can get, right?
Good read. Quick reaction, saw the high chop. Now listen, he should be bouncing around like a young man right now. Offense he's throwing out there, he should want to catch everything. He should be racing to the batter's box as we speak. He's like, come on, get me up there.
Big night for him.
6 RBIs tonight, 10 in the first 2 games of this series.
But with the contract to Kingery, with, again, the pending free agents as it stands right now, guys like Donaldson and Machado could be free agents at season's end. Phillies, not a lot of money on the books going forward. Figure to be very active in free agency. As Dietrich couldn't hold up. That's out number 2 here in the 8th.
Well, even for the Phillies pitching tonight, they've made some big pitches. Dietrich here in the top of the 8th inning, down 20-1, and Jake Thompson throws his best backup slider on a 2-strike pitch.
Ball 1 to Lewis Brinson. He walked in the 3rd. Again, dropped from the number 1 to the number 2 spot in the order tonight by Don Mattingly. He struck out 4 times in yesterday's ball game. And now skies this one out towards center. It is Herrera. We go to the last of the 8th. All Phillies tonight at Citizens Bank Park. Not listed under the pitchers is that young man right there. Brian Holiday is going to work as a pitcher here in the 8th inning. And oh, look at that. He's already sawing off guys on the first pitch.
That's right. You don't mess with B. Holiday.
No, you do not.
That's right. And Holiday, the other Holly. There you go. Getting it done on the mound. Well, just so everybody's aware, is he throwing a knuckleball, by the way?
I wasn't sure.
I mean, listen, first look, I think that's a knuckleball.
I think
I'm right.
Maybe. Florimone out toward right center field. This is Braxton Lee for out number 1.
You saw Florimone who just flied out, right? You know that he's already pitched this season.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He pitched.
Holiday's the 4th position player in Major League Baseball to pitch already this season. The 4th.
It's April 7th,
It's
Holly.
the 4th position. Well, listen, Otani's on board now, so what's the big
true.
deal?
Yeah,
we should all be okay with this by now, right? We can hit, we can pitch.
Scott Kingery pops this one up. There's 2 outs. You know what? Shouldn't be that surprised. He's done this before. He last pitched in 2016 when he was on the Rangers. Did so at Minnesota. 18 pitches, 12 strikes, and he worked an inning and a third. And see,
that's the only smile we got going tonight, right?
You know,
there.
I was going to say that. Like, there are some people that just despise the position player pitching. They think it makes a mockery of the game. But you know what? Listen, nobody wearing a Marlins uniform is going to go home tonight and be thrilled, right? If the score holds, they're going to lose by 19 runs. Not the way that they penciled this in. But as I said before, it only counts as 1. You could lose 20-1. You can lose 2-1. But if you can walk out of here and feel a little bit better, have some kind of smile on your face, and not that Don Mattingly's going to enjoy the post-game press conference, that's not what I'm saying, but if you can walk out of here with some semblance of having fun, like we saw Holiday. Look, he's calling his pitches now.
I'm telling you, the last thing you want to do as a hitter is make it out. Well, strikeout against a position player.
And it's Rhys Hoskins nonetheless.
Oh,
who fans at that 62-mile-an-hour offering, and he wants the ball.
That's right. He should want the ball. Somebody got Hoskins out. How about it? One of the game's bright young stars. Overzealous.
See that? Something to smile about on a rough night here in Philadelphia. Works a 1-2-3 8th inning, and a position player for the Marlins pitching here in Philly, something that we saw in 2015. Ichiro. And he was a little upset that they got to him, evidently. That's right.
Shame on him.
Braxton Lee
Listen,
and Justin Bohr and Brian Anderson.
if you can't get over radar of today's hitter, meaning, you know, I'm talking 95 plus, and we've seen some guys.
Braxton Lee's going to beat that one out. And that is his first big league hit. Congratulations to Braxton Lee.
Legs that out, came into tonight's ball game 0 for 5, and there he goes, number 1.
So they'll save that baseball. And congratulations to Braxton Lee, who made the opening day roster for this Marlins club. And then was sent down to New Orleans for what seemed like a few hours. And then came right back up when Garrett Cooper went on the DL.
Finding the bright spots tonight. Chopper back through the middle. Almost over the second base bag. To see what he is known for, the speed. Now, I don't see him running any bases. This is a 20-1 ball game.
When was your first hit?
Early in a ball game against John Burkett of the Marlins.
Oh.
Double to left.
Back in the day, you probably could have seen that on MLB.tv. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At-Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Although you might have played before MLB.tv. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Bohr is retired. Coming up, Jessica Blaylock will recap what's been a rough night for the Miami Marlins rather, here in Philadelphia, but a positive night for Braxton Lee in the sense that he notches his first big league hit. We'll hear from Don Mattingly after this one. It's the W.B. Mason Marlins postgame coming up. Marlins live after this one. Brian Anderson taps one in front of home plate. Off balance throw for Alfaro. Nice play by Hoskins to reach into the baseline to make the catch for out number 2. And that, I think, will put an end to the 7-game hit streak for Brian Anderson.
This is an incredible play, and it's going to be our fresh catch of the day from Bonefish Grill. Couldn't help but think of JT Realmuto, known for jumping out from behind home plate and being able to cover the ground in front of the mound. Alfaro did just that, even in a 20-1 ball game. Very nice play.
Now Brian Holiday takes a called strike. Chases that one 0-2, and the Marlins are down to their last strike. The Phillies started early and often in this one with a grand slam in the first inning. Added another grand slam in the fourth. 20 runs on 20 hits. And they have taken the first 2 games of this 3-game set here against the Marlins. All Phils tonight at home as they are 2-0 at Citizens Bank Park on the young season. Vince Velasquez worked the first 6. Jake Thompson the last 3. Velasquez struck out 6 and Thompson 4 along the way, as the Phillies win this one 20-1.
Tough loss for the Marlins tonight. They're going to have to turn this thing around quick and get back at it. It's been a tough go here in Philadelphia. Jake Arrieta tomorrow. Look for a little bit of a bounce back Sunday afternoon.
Jorge Alfaro and the Phils got it done tonight with the offense here in Philadelphia. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. by Kubota. For information or to find a Kubota dealer near you, go to Kubota.com and buy your South Florida Honda dealers. So that's going to do it for now here at Citizens Bank Park. 20-1, Phillies on top. We're back to hear some post-game reaction on Marlins Live post-game with Jessica Blaylock after the break.